This is The Art of Startup War, and I am your sensei, Brian McMahon. Now, in Season 1 and 2, I got inside the minds of startup investors. In Season 3, I brought in entrepreneurs to share their startup journey. Here, in Season 4, we combine both so you can hear investors critique the investment value proposition of individual companies. You're going to hear how investors make decisions to invest in startups, what makes a great entrepreneur, and how billion-dollar companies are built. So tune in every Tuesday, 10 a.m. on all the major platforms. You can empower your tribe by sharing the podcast, and remember to subscribe, rate, review, and leave us a comment.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, it's Brian here, it's Expert Dojo, you're in the fridge, I'm with a great buddy of mine, Bobbi from Chi Universe. Me and Bobbi go back a long time ago. We go back to the very beginning of time when Bobbi taught me the benefits of yoga.
That's right. We went back to the beginning of the dojo starting.
Right at the beginning. I swear to God, I think you were like here the day we opened our doors.
Oh, yeah. Well, I remember where we met, the meeting before, and you invited me to have a meeting with you, and you told me about Expert Dojo's birth.
I remember, not that, but I remember when you brought me to understand yoga through my 11-year-old at the time or 10-year-old at the time.
Yeah.
And you're like, your kid's going to love yoga. And I thought, well, what's yoga? And you're going, it's the thing that's going to make your kid be at one with the universe and not be a nasty, horrible little thing. It just runs around with guns shooting. I know I made that bit up, but like it's true. And suddenly you gave these amazing mats that you had, and they had teardrops and they had love hearts, and then he like puts his feet in one place and he puts his hands on the other place, and he was able to do yoga moves like that.
Just like that.
And it was super, super easy. And I remember how intuitive it was. And especially as an old guy, when I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, man, it's so hard to do yoga. Like, how the hell am I going to remember like sleeping cricket when I didn't learn any of this stuff? And your mats made them so similar. And then I realized, wow, the mats are tied into the cards, which is a game for the kids. Cards are tied into the app. And then it's all kind of ties together in this
comprehensive.
in this journey, right? So where kids can really, I don't want to say get a greater understanding of the universe, but they learn to understand themselves better, right?
Awareness, yes, greater physical, mental, emotional wellness. The postures have intelligence. It wakes up the mind, creates calm and focus.
And by the way, just starting there, so you talk about posture. Look at most 11, 12-year-old. And this is for anyone who's got a kid out there. Your kid's neck and back is going to be screwed within the next 5 years. You got a kid of like 9, 10, 11, or 12, you are screwed because they're playing games and they're on their computer. It's not their fault. They're leant over. They're in bad posture. Their neck's in the wrong way. And I've heard like these crazy statistics that something like 40 or 50% of all kids are going to have like major, I don't want to say scoliosis, but I mean, it's just major back issues by the time they're 20.
Yes, and nervous system issues. But that's the great thing about the mat, because the mat symbol system is based on the principles of alignment. So it puts a growing body in the proper position. There's different sizes. And I love when you and your little guy would like verse each other. You would always challenge him. It was so cute. And
because I had my big boy's mat and he had his little boy's mat, and then the two of us were beside each other. I'm like, I totally got you. Yeah. And I'm trying to get my fat ass like trying to move around, but I could do it because it showed me.
Good, actually.
I wasn't good. I like that you
good.
say that, but your mat made, at least I knew where to go.
It makes it easier.
Yeah, it makes it easier because I knew where to go.
And it gamifies it. And also, can we kind of tell the audience about Liam's response to it?
So, you mean the Victorian? When
the Victorian.
Yeah, go on, yeah.
So, okay, I show up that night.
This is, by the way, this is pre-Expert Dojo. This is when we used to host.
Before.
We used to host these huge events.
Yeah.
We'd bring like 20, 30, 40 investors in. There'd be hundreds of entrepreneurs, and everybody wanted to get access to the investors. And we would have them like corralled away behind ropes, and you couldn't get in or anything, right?
Oh, yeah, and Liam just wants to go right in with me.
Because I'm the worst dad in the world. I've got my kid there at like 11 o'clock at night.
The best dad.
I'm the best dad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm trying to teach him what real life is.
He's going to rule the startup world. I'm just waiting for him to take over your company because he's trying to fund me. Okay, so...
And then he found you, right?
So the guy working the door... asked me what I was doing, and then he called Liam, your son, over and gave him my product, and he goes, let us know what you think. Liam takes it into the middle of this huge party, puts it on the floor, figures out the game, spends an hour on it, and then he's like, this is the next best thing. That's what he said. This is the next best thing. And then he escorted me into the investor meeting and took over the investor meeting and basically told the investor, if you don't invest in this, you're gonna miss out on the next best thing. And from then on, he's been like my favorite buddy. Okay.
We need that, right? Especially as a startup, we need that because like now you're killing it, and I want to get back to like all of the amazing things. Like it's the best. But
when
getting there, I think for everybody it's really hard because you're building something from nothing. But when you're starting it on your own, I'd also be interested to know.
Isolated.
Do you think? And I also want to know is like as a female versus a male. Is it harder?
I've got stories for days.
I feel like I kind of know the answer to this.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I have so many stories, but in a nutshell, for me, I just had so many investors and even alumni who said that they wanted to help me out, they'd wait till I'm like desperate for money. And then, they'll be like, send me the paperwork. The paperwork looks great. Okay, meet up with me. I'll bring a check. I'll sign the paperwork. That's where the game changes, and then they try to manipulate me.
And that's specifically as a female, right?
Yeah,
and
as a female.
And it's going to sound really terrible, but it's not unique. Like this is this is something that happens.
Yeah, I think it's going to get better as there are more female investors.
Yeah, I think so too. We actually this evening you're going to be hanging around for this evening.
Oh my God! Thank you for inviting me
for
today.
The investor event, right?
This is so cool.
Yeah, all female investors.
Great.
And actually, to your point, if we had tried to get a room full at the dojo of 20 or 30 female investors, we couldn't have done it 4 or 5 years ago. It just was too hard. But
I know,
but actually, it is pretty easy this time, like because there's so many new investors coming through. And you're right, the prototype of an investor, like going back even only 3-5 years ago, was
it felt really dangerous to me,
white
and
guy,
I was really isolated, struggling so badly. My first property, this is my second startup. My first property, I created something called Animal Yoga for kids, and it was on PBS Kids between 2003 and 2008.
It's crazy, right?
It was wacky, but kids really loved it, and it kind of normalized yoga. I got in front of 20 million households. It made yoga fun and wacky and normalized it. And it was my start. But that property got stolen from me. Yeah. And,
that's a horrible story as well.
You
build up something amazing. You get it on TV.
I took money for it. It completely freaked me out about ever being able to take money again. Yeah. I had to rebuild my self-esteem. But, when I was just totally broke from losing it, and I came up with the idea. I was teaching in the library for like $20, and there was a little girl who could not follow me, and she looked like she was injuring herself. And so there happened to be a Sharpie on the library floor, and I had brought all these mats, and I ran over and I started drawing symbols on the mats, and boom, she was in proper position. And it was really just born out of teaching and wanting her to not injure herself. And she was Latina, and I don't think she could really understand me so well. And so, that incident actually helped me create a design that's now in 20 countries because the symbol system is a universal language.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially for kids because they love it. And look, for anybody, you're listening to this, and I think just listening to us talking about it, you get a feel for what these mats look like. They're absolutely beautiful. They're colorful. Your kids will love them. They got great symbols, and it's so easy for them to be able to work their way around it. And so you built it up, and I know at the beginning you kind of went for inventory, and then the inventory would sell, and then you'd have to get some more money to get some more inventory, and then it was like that cycle for a little while, right?
Oh my gosh. I'm actually on the 4th round of mass inventory.
I love everything I say to you. You say, oh my gosh. Because it floods it back, right?
Journey from hell to in all reality. I had an advisor say to me, oh, you're not going to be profitable to the fourth round of inventory. And I was like trying to get the first one funded. And I was like, what? How am I going to make it? And it's been difficult every time. I've been completely underfunded. But the thing that I've found on the journey is like, there's magic. And
Yeah.
like, I
There are
can't.
good people out there
There are great
that
people who
recognize amazing
invested in
things.
me,
Yeah.
you know, who saw what I was trying to do and were totally integrous. And I, you know, I started gaining my self-esteem back, and people, you know, they wouldn't let this project fail. And the magic of the universe, and I'm telling you, really, I think meditation has been the key for me to like unlocking this journey.
How so? I'm not a meditator, right?
Yeah.
I'm not. You got me into yoga because
Oh,
I saw
good.
how happy my kid was in yoga. And I thought anything that gets him moving to,
Cool.
like, it's so healthy. Choice number
You just feel
one
better.
is you can have your kids sitting on games and just playing games all day and sitting on the couch, and that's it. And choice number two, you can have your kid outside in a park like we were in, with a yoga mat where either a dad and a son are bonding, or a mom and a son are bonding, or a daughter, or whatever it is. Like, it's really beautiful.
It's the best part, the bonding
Yes.
between kids and parents, I think,
Yeah.
from the evolution of this project.
Yeah, and also the awareness as well. But I've
the
never got it. I've
communication.
never been. Meditation has always
Okay,
been a step
I'll give you a
too
quick
far.
lesson. I'll give you a quick
on.
lesson. Well, because, meditation is the supreme form of yoga. And yoga is really to just set the body up for meditation, because you can get into these deeper states when your body is totally still and you use the breath. And the idea is that you connect to your higher self. So there's, you have an energetic body and these energetic centers in your body, but there's one that resides above your head. It's about 2 feet, right where your hands touch with straight
Okay.
arms. So that's your higher self point, and that's like your gateway to source. So you are one with the universe, right? And that's what yoga is. It's yoking through the universe. And when I'm clear, what I do is
So what did it do then? So you're there,
Yep.
you're breathing, because I always love these. I love these interviews because they do a number of things. Number one, it tells people a little bit about the investment journey and who they should go after and who they shouldn't go after, which I want to ask you in a second.
Okay.
Number two, it helps them really understand the truth of the entrepreneurship journey, because it's all made to look like it's a beautiful Facebook Mark Zuckerberg story and everybody's rich, and that's not the truth. The truth is you work your ass off and it's the hardest thing in the entire world.
Yes.
And in the end, you break through because you're a beast, and because the timing has been right, and because the product was in the right place at the right time, and because you did a great job. And like all these factors came together.
And yes, and they say you create your own luck, and so what I do with meditation and yoking of the universe is I literally ask very clearly before I begin meditation what it is that I need. And then I get into a relaxed state of being, connecting with my higher self point, relaxing the nervous system through breathing techniques. And once I'm really in that meditative place,
Yep.
and I've been there, when I'm coming out of the meditative place, I can hear answers to the questions I've asked, or also I'll really put my deepest intentions into the yoking of the universe, and I will ask the universe to provide for me very clearly
And you
what
found
I
that's
need.
helped?
Oh my gosh, this is the magic of the universe. I mean, when you ask me these questions about my investors, they come from the most unimaginable places.
But I suppose also by having intention there, so you put the intention into the meditation.
Yeah.
I put the intention just into my life in general.
Mhm.
So if I go out and I meet 5 or 10 people, my intention of what I need, I make sure is clear in that room of people.
Okay.
And I do it in a very non-aggressive way, but I
Yes.
do it in a very direct way.
With
So-
your words.
Yeah,
'cause
with
you're a
words.
master.
Well, but I love what you say. What you're talking
Your
about.
intention is there.
Yes,
with
you're
your-
talking about intention. So for even for people who are listening and saying, "Well, I'm not sure that I'm ready for meditation yet, or I know how to do it, or I have time to do it," or
You
what-
can feel meditative in 3 breaths. Do you want to do it with me?
Okay.
Okay, so sit up tall, grab onto your knees, okay? And then as you inhale, draw your spine up tall, hold onto your knees and lengthen. Breathe in, breathe in. Exhale, push your shoulders down. Good, sit back just a little bit, okay? Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. You can already feel it, right? One more. Inhale. Deep exhale. So, and then there's a myriad of different techniques you can use to get into that calm state. That's really where the magic is when you
I
manifest.
think you should just continue the interview, and I'll just lean against the side here. I'm good. Just ask yourself whatever you want to know, and like just see. Let's see where this goes.
Oh my
But
God.
I want to, and but by the way, you're right. It stops you, right? And it positions you, and it places a book holder for where you are. But I want everyone to take this as the first really important lesson on this. It's about intention. Have an intention of what it is that you need, and make sure that you are part of the solution in getting that intention out to the universe. However it is that you do it. If you do it in direct meditation, like we just did there, or whether it's something that you actually just voice out to the universe. So tell us about the investors. How did you find, so maybe some of the stories about
I'll tell a
some
couple
of the initial ones?
stories.
Yeah, so I want some of the good ones now.
I'll give you the good ones.
Let's
Okay.
avoid the oglers and
The the manipulators, the
pervs
liars, the
and
pervs.
liars
We
and
don't want to talk
manipulators.
about them.
So we're gonna park.
Put them
We're gonna
away.
park 90% of the investors in inverted
Yes.
commas, and we're just gonna focus on the 10%.
Great.
Is that a good? By the way,
They're the real
is that a good
angels.
percentage that I just gave there, or
I
is that
feel like
is that
it's
a little bit
less.
unfair? Really, less?
Oh yeah, I have stories for days.
I mean, how many did you meet? How many did you
I-
interact with? Investors. The
Oh my
average, by the
God.
way, is somewhere between 100 and 300.
Yeah, probably 100. I've
Okay.
talked to.
And of the 100, how many of those are just reprobates and people who are misrepresenting what they do?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. I
We
mean,
just didn't know. Oh
I
my
don't
gosh,
even have
you
a
got-
number. I mean, I would say
like
I would
80, 60,
I mean, there's
20?
people pretending to be investors.
I
It's
know, there's loads of
hilarious.
them. I live in this
They'll
damn
waste
place.
your time.
And by the way, I mean, and this is again, entrepreneurs, you're going to see this. All those people who tell you what amazing investors they are and how many places they invest in where they don't invest.
Yeah,
I got
they don't
a fucking
invest.
news flash for you. They
Yeah.
generally take a percentage of your company, or they will charge you money for the privilege of them pretending to invest in you, right?
Yeah,
And
it's
then
nice
there's
flip.
some of them who won't, but most of those are pervs, right? And they're just looking for an entirely different reason. I would say maybe 70% or 80%. I mean, I know your story well, so I know the things, and I think that for women, it's a hell of a lot worse than men. With
Oh my
guys,
gosh.
they just want to steal from you. That large
Interesting.
percentage, like, while with women, they obviously want other things as well. But 70, 80% is pretty reasonable. And then you just get those jewels, right? And they come from nowhere.
The pearls come they come from nowhere. It's so
Yeah.
interesting. Whenever I've gotten investment, I never saw it coming. It was always like a magical interaction. So I'll give you a couple, but one of my first and favorite ones was I was taken to an environmental event here in LA, and I was getting a snack, and I swear to you, I heard like a message, and it was like, "There's somebody here you have to meet," and I can be a little Germanic, and I turned really quickly, and I almost knocked down this older Asian gentleman, and I felt so terrible, and I started talking to him, and we started chatting, and he was into import and export, and he was Chinese American.
Lovely.
Perfect, right? And I said,
Yeah.
you know what? I'm trying to bring in my first inventory. Would you ever take a meeting with me and teach me? He said, sure. Come meet me for lunch. So I met him and I sat down and he said, can I tell you a story? And by all means. And he told me how a woman came to him and asked him for $100,000. And he and his wife didn't know her, so they said no. But he sat in meditation. When he was coming out of meditation, he heard a voice in his ear that said to him, you need to invest in her. So he talked to his wife. They invested in her. He said, 3 years later, I'm getting on an airplane and I see that the Huffington Post is selling. And
Whoa.
I said,
it
you
was
invi-
Adriana.
Ariana Huffington? And he said, yes.
Whoa.
And I was like, that is so cool.
That's
Thank you.
crazy.
So I leave the meeting.
Yeah.
I go home.
So you said to him, go meditate now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm
Immediately.
going to go meditate. Go meditate. So I go home and there's my meditation lesson in the mail from Self-Realization Center. And it's all about hearing the voice of guidance in your ear.
Right.
And I was like, what is this technique? I literally went onto the beach, read it, did it. I hear nothing. I start coming out of meditation. I hear a voice. The voice says, you're going home. And I was like, gosh, that's so scary. Like, what does that mean? Am I going to die? I hope not. I said, okay, I'm just going to book a plane ticket back to New York to go home.
Right.
So on the plane ride back from New York, I sit next to a lady. She chats my ear off the whole time. She's so wonderful. And she's asked me all these questions, and she's a spiritual psychologist. And she goes, there's somebody I have for you to meet. She pulls out her phone, and it's him. It's the guy I had a meeting with.
No way.
Yes. And I said, I just met with him 2 weeks ago. She called him, gave me a high recommendation just from sitting next to me. He took it as a good omen. He went to the factory in China that I was talking to,
Yeah.
had a meeting on my behalf, paid for my first round of inventory.
How much did he invest?
It ended up being about $20,000 to...
Beautiful.
Yeah,
it
and
got
he
you
put
going.
my products in his warehouse to help me get started.
Amazing.
And that's how I got my first role going.
And that's how it happens, right?
Yes.
It's just you put yourself out there.
And he's an angel to this day.
But he didn't have a sign on his head going to networking
No.
events saying I'm an angel so he could judge a lot of startups.
No,
So
and I knocked him over.
So lesson number 1, all of those angels are around you all the time. They're just people who want great investments. My guess is he probably made many, many, many millions of dollars from the Huffington Post, because that went up to a very nice valuation.
I think it sold for like $300 million. I'm not
Yeah.
sure.
So, but if he put in money at the beginning, well, who knows? But a
Yeah,
lot
I'm
of
not
money,
sure.
right?
Yeah,
So, but
so.
but those people they're not in the list. There's nothing saying they're angels. They're just people who want to get better investments. So, as long as your business is really strong and you have a really strong message to get out there, those people will hear that message. You just have to be persistent, and you have to make sure you tell them all. And then you fought your way through. How many runs have you had now?
So I've successfully brought in 4 rounds of mass inventory.
Joe, go, Bobbi.
Thanks. I'm on my second tech upgrade. The app is looking so awesome.
It's
We're
looking
about to
great,
launch
because I
it.
want to go straight now to the good stuff, because I know this has been a heck of a journey, and it's been a heck of a journey over years, and you've never given up, and you're everything I love in an entrepreneur, because
You've seen me at some lows.
yeah, I've seen you at some lows, but you've fought through the lows, right?
Thanks. I don't know where that comes from.
I always remember, like my wife would say to me that it's I'd jump off a building or something, and I'd say, "Oh, I'm brave," and she's going, "Well, being stupid isn't brave. Like being afraid and still doing it, that's brave." So I would see you in here when you've got nothing, and you don't have enough. Like you're like every single entrepreneur, of which
Starving,
I've
not
been
sure how I'm gonna
one.
pay my rent.
Yeah, like you're thinking, I'm
How am
going
I
to
gonna
get
grow
some
this?
noodles for today and tomorrow, right? And do it together. And every single day, you still got out of bed. You still made sure you did what you had to do. And you didn't just sit there saying, "Well, if the money doesn't come in, I'm dead." You went out and taught a class, or 10 classes, or 15 classes, and then that put you in different circles with huge personalities who suddenly started. So you were always
Yoga.
focused on the money coming through, and that's the secret to this. It's about being able to persevere
Love when I get it
beyond
right.
what nobody else can do. Right? That's what makes you awesome. And then you did this, and you did it for 4 runs. And as you went through, like, awesome, good things were happening.
Yeah.
But each one just pushes you along a little bit. Like you were in American Airlines in the magazine, and you were
Yes.
awesome in the magazine.
Thanks.
You then got into Nickelodeon, and you were doing stuff with them, right?
Oh,
Or you were
they're
working?
currently reviewing their
I mean, like,
business
meetings.
development. Yes,
Yeah.
I've had meetings. Well, do you want to hear about that?
Yeah, I want to go. No, because now what I want to do is I want to fast forward.
Well, they're playtesting my product now.
But how cool is that?
But do you know why they're playtesting it?
Why?
Because 2 reasons. One, I sat next to a girl at a grocery store who started talking to me, and she made an introduction to a friend who worked at Nickelodeon. I walked in the front door for the meeting, and I ran into the guy who designed my logo character. And I was like, "You're working here now?" It was, and so I mean, out of the whole campus, right? I walk in the door and I run right into him.
That's
This is
awesome.
when you know you're on path,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So then they wanted to help me out, but they're like kind of trying to send me. I felt like down the wrong path, and so I started doing research, and I'm like, who is the SVP of consumer products?
Yeah.
And I found him. Side experience, I've always wanted to go to the licensing expo.
Yeah.
So I was able to raise a little bit of money this year after being featured in the top 20 Nordstrom.
Yeah.
And I signed up for it. And then I researched around on the website and saw that he was on a panel that I could pitch to if I got chosen.
Yeah.
and it was like this great panel called Pitch the Brand at Licensing Expo. And I was like, you know what?
By the way, I love this. Research, 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 research.
Yeah.
Like nothing just happens because we want it to happen.
No, I'm
alone.
like clearly targeting this person at this point.
Stalking.
I'm stalking him, and I even write him
encourage.
emails like, "This is your weekly stalker report." So I applied. You know, I spent half the day. I sent $100, and I was like, "I'll probably won't see that." I get a call. I got it. One of 10 chosen out of 2,000 applications put me right in front of him.
Beautiful.
Did the pitch, which, by the way, is a whole story in itself. But after, he came up and found me and started talking to me. So, you know, the cool thing is they're currently play testing the product. And, you know, I have some really great stuff around me now.
And what else is happening? What else have we got going on?
Okay, so I talked to the CEO of Boy Scouts of America last week.
Huge.
Huge. And it was really helpful to talk to him because, you know, we're doing the second part of the app upgrade, and everything he said to me was exactly what I needed to hear. Yes, we would love to use the app to offer it as a way. You know, it's free, right? So they're open to offering it as a physical fitness activity and using it as points to earn your merit badge, right? So he says to me, how are we going to collect the data? How are we going to know that they completed the program? And I said, well, this is what we're doing. We're doing the data collection right now. So I've literally spent the week, you know, researching privacy policies, all this stuff. It's just like the extra $5,000 and like, how am I going to pay for that? But it's just been so insightful. And then also the NFL Player Association was on the panel. They're playtesting the product.
Beautiful. So you got NFL, you got Nickelodeon,
Boy Scouts of America.
Who else?
There's a company in England that's I've had a couple of amazing meetings with and gotten some really beautiful love notes from England. They totally get the product and program. So they're trying to bring it over, and they have a...
To be fair, anybody who sees this product is going to get it, right? They're going to get it. Like you can see this thing being in stores everywhere, whereby kids will just look at it and say, wow, great, this is actually what I should play with. And parents will want their kids to be able to play with it as well. So is the intention to license the product in the end, to find one of these major brands and then license it out and have that as the
I'm
exit
trying
play?
to figure that out right now because I have, you know, some interest from a Canadian entertainment company, and also I met with somebody in the US who's a big box retailer. So that's like a totally different deal. So I'm starting to learn that there's different ways, you know, I could potentially license or partner or, you know, maybe even an exit, depending on how these bigger companies perceive me. You know,
they might buy it out, right?
Yeah,
and that's this look. So the beautiful thing about your whole journey here is the way every entrepreneur should build their product.
But it's still scary because I don't know how to do these deals. I'm learning. I don't know how it's going to go. You know, like I'm still in the hot seat, you know.
And
I'm
also
not like out of...
And because of the last company, you also know that it's very easy for people to steal things. And there's very smart people, in inverted commas, who their whole life is just dedicated to going out there and stealing stuff from other people.
Oh, and I've been threatened, and it's horrible. It's so stressful. But I have to say that, you know, by me losing my first product and company, I did everything really right in terms of filing patents and trademarks and copyrights and creating a really beautiful IP portfolio. And people definitely take me much more seriously, and they, you know, they want to know about my IP. And so right now I don't really have any real competition you know, for my patent. So that's great. You know, hopefully we'll be able to strategically move in a direction that's,
you did things really well. So I want to just show milestones for everybody listening on the things you did really well. Number one, a lot of money, little money, didn't matter to you. You filed all of the right patents. You made sure that you made sure you protected yourself from the beginning. You gotta do that. If you have a product in place, even though companies can come after you and be unfair, you have got to protect yourself, because when you get strong, then there's a very good chance people will rather play with you than fight you.
Okay, and also, when I lost my first property, I went to work for an IP litigator.
Yeah.
So I could learn everything I could.
Well done, you. Absolutely
that's-
brilliant.
and he
So that's number 2. So number 1
You
actually is get knowledgeable.
action.
Yeah, go to school
Get
and make sure
all
you
the
understand
info.
how all of the other folks, because otherwise, as an entrepreneur, look, you'll be allowed to do all the hard work. Then nobody's going to steal anything from you in the early days. They're going to wait.
They're going to wait.
Until you're successful. And then they're going to
and people
drive. They're going to come into your
threaten you.
driveway with a big old truck that they can put the cash into. So go to school at the beginning. Find out about it. I think that's brilliant. Number 2, build your protection. Build a strong wall around you to make it hard for people to steal what you have. Now, sometimes your protection is a patent. Sometimes your protection is a Pepsi secret recipe. Sometimes the protection is the people that you have around you, the team. Sometimes it's all of these things, right? But build the protection and make sure it's in place. Number 3 is make sure that your product has got a real need in the market and find the niche. I think your niche is absolutely genius. I
Thanks.
always did. The way Liam, my boy, reacted to it and the way I see other kids reacting to it, there's no friction in the market from stopping this from being the huge thing for tomorrow.
Yeah, we're hoping like this is fourth quarter for the win right here.
Yeah, but you're on it. And like so we haven't even got to here yet. Now then the next stage is persevere. Like whatever it takes, whatever comes at you, continually question, is the product fit right? Is the market really looking for this? But never ever be any doubt of the ability to persevere, exactly what you did there. And then the next point is build milestones for small wins and research strongly. Go after the right people in the right space to
Yes.
build your business. Focus on building your business. Yes, have some investment on the side, but focus on building your business and make sure that that's the only thing that you're actually making sure that you're doing. And you did all of that,
And
which was
also-
absolutely brilliant.
Thanks. Thank you.
And
And
now-
also
but now
I
you're
learned
at a
the
stage-
value of money. Like when I would get money or get a round of funding, I would run a really long, hard game with that money.
Yeah, make the money last for you. And
Or
now
just
you are look.
strategic use of it, you know?
Yeah, and look, now you're at a stage where the company is in a really good state. I know you're not sure of the direction where it's going to be, but you've done all these things to build it up. You have
I have
all these
interest.
stakeholders that are interested in it. You have the product which is selling. You've already done 4 runs. Like
Yeah.
now you're at the
I've
space
proven it.
where the game has started. Everything else, everything up to this in entrepreneurship land is the pre-game.
Yep.
But the pre-game allows you to go on the field with the all-stars. So now you're there and you need to be surrounded by the right people to make sure that you get the right deals and that you do it properly
Yes.
wherever it ends up. But you got everything to play for. So I love it. So
I know
so
this is getting really fun now.
you're almost there. So like for everybody listening and listening, we have investors who listen to this on a regular basis. We've got startups who listen to a regular basis. We've got folks who are just interested. What do you need? What do you most need from the community to give? And I want you to intentionally tell us what's going to happen and when it's going to happen.
Okay.
You
Ooh,
like
I
that?
love that.
You see? You got me.
Yeah, you got me. So, the things that have been really helpful are the organic movement. Yoga influencers, yoga moms, people who've shared it with their communities, online and in person. That's been so helpful, and this
Yeah.
product has made a spectacular holiday gift. It's like the best fun, healthy product you could really give a kid or family. And so we've done really well at the holidays. And
So share the word with influencers, anyone
Yes.
who's in the yoga, meditation, wellness space. If you know anybody who's looking for a wonderful present, for God's sake,
For
don't buy them another
kids.
another gun or
no
something.
more
Give them
junk.
something great, or junk. Like give them something
Give
that's
them
going to.
lifelong tools for wellness.
Yes, I like that. What else? Investors?
So yeah, finishing up this last upgrade and just coming out of this last round of inventory, I feel like I need to raise one more round for the win. Just keep me going.
How much is that going to be?
I just think I need like another 50K.
Okay, so not very much. Small
It's
money.
a small amount, and I'm trying to just take another small raise so I don't give up too much more equity
Yep.
because I've done a pretty good job of
Well done. You've done great. Protect yourself. Protect your equity.
yes, and controlling interest.
Never give up. I mean, so Bobbi mentions that in passing. Never, ever, ever give up controlling interest before Series B.
Yeah.
You do not want to be in a position where somebody can fire you from your own company. And it happens the majority of the time, not the minority. I love that. Okay, so investment as well. So then just to finish,
Yes.
I needed to share your contact details, just your email though. and also the website so people can contact you afterwards if they can provide you with any of these resources.
Okay.
And then also maybe just one huge piece of advice for everybody listening to the show.
Yeah, sure.
Only for entrepreneurs, though. You're speaking to entrepreneurs who maybe are starting your journey.
Yeah.
What would you tell them? But tell us contact details first.
Okay. So the website is Chi Universe, and Chi is spelled CHI. And Chi, by the way, is your life force energy.
Yeah.
So chiuniverse.com. Follow us on Instagram because we do really fun yoga challenges and giveaways. And that is Chi Universe Yoga. So join our community online.
Awesome.
And I'm Bobbi, Bobbi at chiuniverse.com if anybody wants to shoot me an email. And also I'm happy to send like discount codes to people. Definitely 100% download our new app. The final tech grade's going to the final tech upgrade is done this week. I'm so excited. I can't even talk about it. So right now, this week, it's going to be launching on iTunes for iPhone and iPad.
Fantastic.
So Chi Universe app. It's the whole digital game. It's yoga instruction with me, and it's free. So get it, and then Android will be coming right behind it. High five! We're high tech. So yes, please get the app, check it out, because you can also order through the app. And if you put in your email, we'll send you a discount code.
Wonderful. And one huge
what's
piece
the
of,
advice?
like, the one thing that every single female solo entrepreneur needs to know when she's going to start off her business.
I think that my journey from being a yoga teacher and to becoming a real CEO has been me being able to step into my power and to trust myself. And I realize, sometimes you get dropped into what I call the hot seat. And what I realize is by being in the hot seat, you can turn the situation into your favor. So by addressing difficult things, by not shying away from them, by, speaking directly to them to try to creatively solve issues or disagreements or things that aren't working. When I find, like, if you're willing to be in the hot seat and do what it takes to get through the hard stuff, that you come out stronger with more allies on the other side.
Yeah, awesome. I love it. Just deal with things front on. Bobbi, you're
Yeah.
awesome.
You
You've been
are.
awesome
Thanks for
since
all
I've
your
known you. Are you
support.
kidding me? Like
You
the
guys
dojo.
are part of the magic.
It's true. We've been together right from the start.
Yeah.
And we're going to be there
You're going to be
when
there
you
for
do
the
the
win.
we're going to be there for the exit party. Which is going to be when, by the way?
Do you want to say like sometime next year?
I want you to
or-
tell me when it's going
I
to
feel
be.
like
When it's
I'll
going to
honestly
be.
tell you, I feel like January of 2020. I read something.
You
in
think
my-
that's soon?
something big is coming through January 2020. I know it because I read astrology a little bit and I can see it in there. But I think my biggest Christmases are coming 2020 through the next 4
Okay,
or
so
5
look.
years.
Okay, so
But
here's the
I-
prediction. The prediction is that we are going to have some major liquidity stroke exit stroke investment event
partnership
whatever
whatever
by
it
quarter
looks
one
like, by
quarter
quarter
one
one
2020. You heard it right here. Thanks, Bobbi.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. If you love the podcast, please empower your circle by sharing these stories. The Art of Startup War is brought to you by Expert Dojo. And remember, we invest in startups, $50,000 checks. Make sure you apply on our site if you are one of those great entrepreneurs looking to bring your company to the next level. As far as the Art of Startup War is concerned, we are back every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. So remember, check out the new episodes. If you want to find out what the investors think, check out season 1 or 2. But make sure you join us every single week.